So with that, welcome to HayStack Mujer TV. Your host, Rosaura Figueroa Mendoza, Rosa Salvaje, and we have from San Pablo, California, Fatimah Patrice. Yeah.
Hello. Yes, it's an honor to be
The
here.
young goddess, the queen of vibe, the mocha mommy. She's here. She's in the HayStack. She came to visit. So
Yes,
hanging out.
it's my backyard right here. That's like, I'm from San Pablo, which everyone thinks is like Oakland, San Pablo, but it's actually Richmond, San Pablo. So, but yeah, so we're all neighbors. So.
It's all here, the Bay Area.
Yeah.
I feel like there's so much talent here in the Bay Area. It's just that, how come we're not, I think we're getting there, but it's like, people are working and grinding. I see folks getting stuff together, but you know, I think that we have so much potential to be a place of entertainment, a platform where, you know, there's artists, filmmakers, photographers, all that stuff. It's all here. It's just a matter of continuing to build that platform of like, no, we're here in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
Got a voice, got story.
Yeah, because the thing that I've noticed with everyone from the Bay Area is a lot of people leave and they kind of come back, or they kind of make their way back, but not here to live. But they like, it's like, oh, I'm from the Bay Area, and you didn't even know. It's like they left to go get themselves started, and it's just like, oh, I'm from the Bay Area. And I hear the stories a lot about how they said, oh, you know, the area wasn't, you know, repping for me, so I had to leave to basically get a buzz going. And like you said, I think we have the potential to have an entertainment capital versus like, oh, y'all started the slang, you guys started this, you guys started the hustle, you guys started it. Like, we started it, but it's just like the castle isn't there. It's like, this is where it started, but people are building the castles everywhere else, and it's just like, oh, okay. But I get where they're coming from, because a lot of people that I notice that do contact me like via Instagram or Facebook or wherever, they're from like the South or something, or they're from somewhere else, and it's just like, hey, is it possible that I can do this for you? And it's just like, wow. It's like, and they're so open to helping, and it's just like, I think if we do that in the Bay Area, we're more open to help. I think that'll help too. Yeah. On top of everyone has their hand in so much at the same time, so I think they're not even thinking about like, oh, let me just stick to this one thing. It's like such a hustle where it's just like, you know, I do this, I do that, I do this, I do that, and it's just like, oh, that's great. Let's come together and do this. And it's just like, oh, I'm kind of busy because I'm doing this, you know. So I think that's where that's coming from too, where it's just like, I have my hand in so much, so building a team right now is just not going to happen for me, you know. And when they do have like teams and everything, everyone on the team is still everywhere. So
yeah, but it is possible to continue to build that, because you look at Mac Dre, E40, Too Short, like they have all been able to, you know, rest in peace Mac Dre, but like they have all been able to get their music out there and for people outside of the Bay Area to know. And then you look at like folks like Kehlani and G-Eazy, who are, you know, they're out there, but it's like we need more of those voices from this area that are telling their stories, that are going out and actually putting the Bay Area on the map in terms of like, oh, the Bay Area, like this person's from there, you know, and I haven't really seen that. So I'm looking forward to it, because I feel like it's coming. It's just like, all right, cool, let's make it happen. Yeah. Making it happen.
Yeah. That's what I said. I put it right in my bio too, like in the little thing. I was just like, San Pablo. Because my mom, she was just like, what are you, like, she said, no one knows where San Pablo is. I said, well, they're gonna know.
There you go.
They're gonna
exactly,
know.
Girl. Okay, that's how I feel about Hayward, because I mean, it's the heart of the Bay, and we're right here, but like not a lot of people, if you're not from here, not a lot of people like come through here. Yeah. And I mean, to have that love for your city, love for the soil, I really feel like when people feel that love for their city, you're gonna be more inclined to protect it, right? And so us here dealing with gentrification, again, it's not to the level of Oakland, San Jose, San Francisco, and other cities, but it's happening, right? And so if people right now start being like, oh, I want to stay here, I want to live here, I want to raise my family here, like if we all like, there's 160,000 people here in Hayward. Like, if we all are like rising up and like, no, we're gonna stay here. We have the potential to like really build something, right?
Yes, I agree. I agree wholeheartedly, because I see it in San Pablo as well. I see all the construction, and like, I'm like, oh, I remember that place, and I'm just like, wait a minute, what's going on? It just makes you think, because I don't know if you're aware of Hilltop Mall. and it's like in Richmond, like, cause it's not too far from where I'm from. And I went in there the other day and so many stores shut down, and I heard that they're gonna basically revive the mall. So I was just like, oh my God, it's happening.
Yeah.
Because
I used to do Lyft, so I think I went through there one time.
Yeah.
Pick somebody up or drop somebody off.
But like, no lie, that mall was kind of going down the drain. But once again, like, if we as a community would have just been there more, and just like, it's so much stuff we could have done. But then it's like, we don't want to keep pointing fingers, saying, well, this should happen, this should happen. But I think that even with whoever's living in that area, still do nice things. It just shouldn't be like, okay, well, we're gonna move new people in, and we're gonna raise these prices, we're gonna do all this stuff, then we're gonna make it nice.
Yeah.
And it's just like, no, how about you just make it nice now so people can appreciate it in this moment, versus like, oh yeah, let's move everyone out and then we'll make it nice.
Yeah, for sure. I was having this conversation with somebody some time ago, and he was saying that it's not about, like, we're not, because one thing that I have is like, okay, I'm not trying to be that, because I'm like, for example, if we're talking about immigration, right? And people talk about like, they're coming over here from other countries, we want to keep them out, whatever it is. So I'm not trying to have that rhetoric be here in Hayward in terms of like, I don't want new people coming in, it should only be, it's not like that. So he kind of clarified it for me. Marco, shout out to you, who's also an artist. He was talking about how, well, it's not about saying no to other people, it's about finding ways of how to keep the people that are already living there staying there. They're able to afford it, they're able to be there, live there, work there, whatever it may be, right? And so
we can coexist.
Yeah,
that's all I'm asking for.
Yeah, for sure. And it's hard sometimes, because there is big money that's beyond me. Like, I don't have that kind of money, right? So money is power, and you're able to maneuver in and out of political dealings in those ways. And so, but we also have people power, so building up that people power.
That's true. And I feel like the people, the power that's put on money, I feel like the people are stronger than the money. But at this point, I'm noticing as time goes, it's like a lot of people say, oh, they don't like talking about politics or anything. And I get that, but just my personal opinion, from my view, the president that's in office now, it's like they see dollar signs with him. And I'm just like, but do you not see his character? Do you not see all the stuff that he's doing? That, like, if we put on our righteous caps, let's put our righteous caps on and just look at the way that it's being handled. If you feel a way about something, there's different ways of handling it versus saying, I'm going to attack it with hate. I'm going to attack it with this. I'm going to attack it with, and it's just like, no, how about you sit back and talk to your team and say, what's the best way we can handle this without harming so many people? And it's just, look at like, just everything at this point. It's just like, it's too much harm going on and no solutions. Like, the solutions that he has, they're not good solutions. It's a lot of like solutions that, like, who came up with that? Like, who did you decide that on your own and everybody said yes? Like, I feel like that's what's going on in office at this point. It's just like, okay, whatever you say, he's the one with the money, do what he says. He has the money, or he's the boss, do what he says. And it's just like, no one's going to question that. No one's going to step up and say, how about we do it this way instead? Like, there's people dying. It's just so much stuff that I'm just like, okay.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things, like, what solutions do we have to fix this problem without harming people? But, no.
What I've been seeing a lot is that violence manifests itself in a lot of different ways, right? And so, if you look at certain people, we could take the president, but we could look at also people in general, like, that we see in our daily lives, ourselves, right? Are we okay? Are we still healing from things that have happened to us? Like,
hurt people.
Exactly, yeah. And so, if you're not able to analyze that trauma that has occurred to you, you're gonna keep doing the same thing and hurting other people, right? And so, that's the way I feel about Trump. I feel that he's a human being. He was a baby once. He was innocent once. There's things that I think that he went through that created him into who he is now. He's now 70 years old, so I'm not gonna change, like, my neighbor. I'm not gonna change my 70-year-old neighbor and change her views. She's from Mississippi, like, or Alabama, so she has her views, of how things are, and so it's interesting, but it's also recognizing, all right, are you healing that violence that has occurred to you, and for me personally, like, violence comes in it's the verbal, it's the emotional,
abuse,
psychological, physical, sexual, right? And so definitely analyzing the ways in which we the things that we go through, you know, or have gone through, for sure. Do you feel like you were talking about prayer earlier, and that's your form of meditation, and so besides prayer, what do you feel you do to ground yourself? All right, like things are just crazy right now, let me just like
sleep. I will take a nap in a heartbeat. And a lot of people say they can't sleep when so much is going on, but I get so drained, and I think it might be because of learning how to direct my energy and learning how to center myself. As far as like, if someone says something really bad to me, I don't fly off the handle. It's just kind of like I take it in, and everyone says, "Why do you just sit there and stare?" And I'm just like, "Cause I'm taking it in, whatever just happened." Yeah. And everyone's like, I'm trying to learn not to react so much, and I think doing that makes me so, like, at the end of the day, so tired, or even just moments in the day where I'm just like, I need a nap. And then sometimes I can't take a nap, so what I would do besides napping is just really focus on one thing and one thing only, not have so many tabs open in my mind, like, okay, I got this bottle of water here, okay, I got these cookies here. It's like, okay, let me focus on these cookies. Okay. I'm not gonna let everything around me like just keep taking over. Just like, okay, I'm gonna eat all these cookies. Okay, let me drink this water. Okay, I'm going back to, it's just like, no, eat all the damn cookies. Yeah. And then go get your water. And then it's like closing some of the tabs in your mind, because that'll make you just go where nothing will get done. Everything will be half done. Right. So what I'm learning is just focus on one thing at a time. So that helps as far as if I can't nap, and even just praying to yourself, you can just be looking directly at the wall and just talking to God. And I watched something recently with KRS-One. He's definitely an old school rapper. Well, he'd be considered an old school rapper. I've watched him tell the class about how everything is within. Like, there's the senses that we have. And so within, what there is that we can sit here and we can read a book without even moving our lips. And so it's not in our mind, it's like in our being. Our being is reading the book. When we're not opening our mouths, we're just kind of just sitting there and we're just reading. And he's like, everyone thinks it's their mind, it's not, it's your being. And I was just like, wow. And so he's like, when you're quiet and you're just talking, like, I'm gonna go eat some food. Yeah, I want to eat some food. It's not, and everyone calls it thoughts. He said, it's your being. And he said, because once this body is gone, that being moves on. And it's gonna go to the next whatever, and it's gonna do the same things. Like that talking that you hear. They said when you talk, what voice do you hear? You hear the talking voice, but it sounds like it's in your head, but it's in your being. I was like, oh, steep.
Do you believe in past lives?
I do. Absolutely. Okay. Because it's some things feel so good to me. Like, and I'm like, what is this? Like the music that we're listening to right now, I'm just like, yes, like, and it's just like certain things and certain
Brentwood Station, Pandora, get it.
Yes. And so it's like all the feeling, so many feelings. I have so much, like when things happen, like we were talking about energy earlier and how you can feel it. Yeah. You can feel it shifting, or you can feel if it's good or bad. And I would go places and I would just sit there because it feels good. Or like people, when they play me certain music, I'm like, oh, that feels good. And they were like, you mean sounds good? I'm like, no, it feels good. Like certain things feel really good. And I'm just like, that's not something that I'm born with. That's something from the past life that came with me.
When something feels good, what is it that you feel?
Light, very lightweight, because when things don't feel good, I feel very like very tensed and uncomfortable. I feel relaxed and free. Like, and everyone's like, well, what's the freeing feeling? It's a light feeling. You don't feel like you have to look over your shoulder every 5 minutes. You feel like you don't have to constantly check and see what someone's doing, or like, you don't think that anyone's doing anything weird or crazy to you. It's just light. It's a light feeling.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think that's really cool what you're sharing in terms of everything's within, everything, because I truly believe like we are the people that could decide how how your life goes, what decisions you make. You can listen to your body and truly decipher whether you like somebody or not, or if you feel uncomfortable, the food that you eat, different things, and so we really have the answers. But I think that for a long time, me personally, like I've sought validation outside of myself from men, I think that's a big one, from men, because us as girls, I mean, I was taught to depend on like, you gotta get to feel complete. You gotta get married, have the kids, have a house, and
Yes.
if you don't have that, then you're left behind. Like, you know, and so they have that word in Spanish, quedada. Quedada is like left behind. Like you reach a certain age or whatever it is. It's like, oh, you're not married, or you don't have a partner, you don't have kids. Like, you know, the traditional, like, tias, the aunties, like, they be looking at you like,
Hey,
so what's going on? Where's your boyfriend? You got, you know, so that's, it's something that irks me when people, like, that I haven't seen in a while that are like, hey, do you have a boyfriend? Are you dating anybody? It's like, no, I've just been focusing on me, or like, or even the fact that, like, you know, being queer, like, sometimes it's not a man, sometimes it's a lady, and like, is that okay? Like, can I be myself around you? Are you gonna understand? You know, and so so it's a process, I think, to understand that, like, it's okay for me to be me. It's okay for me to take up space. You know, like, my mom and I were having a conversation. She's so sweet. She's so nice, and like, she loves to dance too. She's fun loving, but I noticed that she doesn't feel like with the license to take up space in the world. Sometimes she kind of like gives off this vibe of like, let me get out of the way, which it irks me, because it's like, oh my God, we need your energy in this world. Like,
we're taught that. We're taught that we need to back up, and you need to not to be seen and not heard, and you need to. And I'm so happy for the right now, for the us. When I mean us, I mean free, and we do what we want, and we walk in it, and like, we stand tall in it. We're not like, oh, maybe I shouldn't do this. It's like, I'm doing it. So,
there's still fear though.
That's a natural emotion that you're like, I'm gonna do this.
Yeah.
It's the fear isn't gonna go away. I watched so many celebrities like Shaka Khan, and like artists like Prince, and all these people, and even Beyonce, saying that before they step on stage, you're just like, oh. And then they get out there and it's just like, oh, whatever. Yeah. Will Smith said the same thing. It's like, oh my God. Yeah. Okay. You know, it's gonna be there. It's not gonna go away. But just to face that fear, to walk in, like, you know, I'm gonna do it anyway. It's like, I hear that saying all the time. It's just like, the doubt is gonna be there. Do it anyway. The fear is gonna be there. Do it anyway. And it's like, if you're gonna do it with the fear. Like, okay, I'm scared, but I'm doing it.
And you got your song, No Doubt.
No Doubt.
From 2017, Fatimah Patrice.
No Doubt. It's like you know. And I'm glad you brought up like the fear factor of it all, because everyone's just like, how do you do that? And it's just like, you do it anyway.
Exactly.
You know, it's like, I don't know if I should say this. It's my experience. It's my, like, this is what I've seen. This is what I'm going through. It's my truth. Exactly. And it's fine to me, I feel like it's fine to express your truth, because it happened to you. You can't nobody tell you, like, don't say that. Why can't I say that? It happens to me. Right. Just like when I hear about the Me Too movement, speak. If I can say to anybody, men or women, anyone, speak. Yeah. You know, it happened to you. Don't let anyone shut you up about it. It's just like, oh, don't say that. Why not? It's my truth. Right. It happened to me. Right. Don't spread lies. But if it's your truth, it's your truth. But like, if you know that didn't happen, don't sit there and lie. Don't spread lies, but spread your truth. And I think that's perfectly fine.
Terry Crews was sharing about his experience.
Yeah, and I'm happy he did, because everyone's trying to make light of it or make fun of it. And I'm like, no, it happened to men too. Like, every man doesn't want to jump on someone. That's a lot of men just like, no, can you please give me my space? Like, not every man wants to be touched. It doesn't matter if it's by a man or a woman. Humans they know what they want. And they get confused because people are telling them to be quiet. It's just like, I don't want to do that. Oh, you're a guy, come on. You want her, or you want him. You know, it's just like, how you going to tell me what I want? And then they get pressured into things. Because so many times, and I feel like a lot of what happened in the Me Too movement is being pressured by something. Like, it can even happen where it's not about like money or about fame or about anything. It could be about, I really like this person. If I don't do this, they're not going to like me.
And us as humans, we all have the right and ability to set our boundaries, right? Yeah. You know, if our limits, like, we all have that as humans. And if you want to be this far away from somebody, then that's your prerogative. Like, you don't want to be touched, you know,
It's a respect thing. Just respect what they want. If someone tells you, can you please, like, let's just say, if you're dating a guy and you actually know, please don't call me after 10 o'clock. I have to rest. We have school tomorrow. I have work tomorrow. I have to, and they call you at 11:30 after you just told them not to call you, and you don't answer, and they go off on you about but why you didn't answer the phone. Didn't I tell you?
Right.
And then all of a sudden, if you would have just listened and followed instructions when I said, this is, you didn't respect me. You didn't respect. And people don't get it. They're just that's petty. That's not petty. I asked you not
you
to
communicated.
do that. I communicated that. And people do that all the time. Are you like, call me back in 10 minutes? And if you call me back in 15 and I'm busy, that's 10 minutes. Like, you know, if you want to call me back at 9 and I don't answer, but if I, you know, just kind of be more respectful of people's time and energy and when they're asking things. I think that's a big thing that people tend to miss. And so I try my best to make sure I stick to people and say, hey, can you do this at this time? I do my best to follow those instructions, and it's not the fact that it's just like I'm a goody two shoes. I'm respecting the fact that this is what they asked of me. It's a respect thing. People think it's like, oh well, I'm going to do it at this time because I don't care. And it's just like, well, you don't care about their time, you don't care about their thoughts of things, you don't care. It's like those things. It's like I feel like if we be more aware of things like that, or just even being negotiable about things, just like, oh well, I get off at work at 10. Can I call you at 10:30? Can we make, you know, not only talk to you for 30 minutes? Is that okay? Ask. Don't be like, okay, well, I'm off at 10, so I'm going to call him at 10:30.
But I think the key thing is communication, is actually speaking up, using your voice, saying, hey, this is how I feel, this is where I'm at, where are you? You know, and I think that's something that I'm learning now at 27 years old. I feel like I didn't grow up necessarily communicating or saying, like in our family, like something happens, it's like, oh, we pretend like it didn't happen, everything's fine. It's like, now I'm trying to change that because I'm seeing that all those years of not talking and speaking up, it's like there's been many times where I've bottled everything in and then explodes inappropriately, and everything's like, oh shit, you saw my true colors. Oh damn, you saw me, you see me now.
You lost it. Oh,
and then it's like it doesn't feel good because people are looking at you like, damn, she's crazy, but really it's so loca. But I wasn't taught to, like, I'm learning right now to communicate and to speak up and to express myself. You know, and especially as a girl, ooh,
you better not say anything. And I feel like women in general are taught that. It's great when you do have people in your family to tell you to speak up. Yeah, totally. And, you know, and you don't get looked at as, you know, being disrespectful or being, you know, anything other than yourself. It does bother me that it's so many people across the board, because with you even saying that, I'm like, oh my God, that's me. Like, when growing up, it's like, don't say that because you're going to make them feel uncomfortable, or don't do that because that's just how they are. And it's just, and that's the biggest thing where it like kind of ticks me off a little bit. It's like, well, that's just how they are. And it's just like, okay, if you're like that, I'm not going to deal with it. And if I don't deal with it, all of a sudden I'm a bitch, I'm this, I'm that. And it's just like, wow, because I don't want to deal with the way that you are. I'm wrong. But you're not wrong. And you can deal with people the way you want to. Yeah. Like you said, arm's length, like, hey, if I don't want to deal with you, I don't have to. And you can't force me to. And you don't have to deal with me. Like, there's people, they're just like, oh, well, what if I don't like you? Well, if you don't like me, I like me, and you don't have to deal with me.
That's right.
That's what it is.
You know, and I see hope in folks like us. I know I'm putting in work every day. I know you're probably putting in work too. You see it in your music, you know, the things that you're talking about, right? We're putting in work to be better in terms of being able to be powerful women that speak our truth and are able to be out there in the world, regardless of fear. You know, we're all there. Fear is always going to be there, but we're out there to leave behind our legacy and leave behind what we want to leave behind. And but another thing that gives me hope is my niece. My niece is like, she's 7 years old and she's just like free as hell.
If you can keep it that way, that'll be amazing. Amazing. Like, I encourage that so much. Make sure that you keep that fire in her, because people will try to turn that thing down. They'll be like, stop talking so loud, stop doing this, stop doing that. And it's just like, no, let her talk.
I mean, she's an interesting character, but so her family is she's my cousin's kid, but they're the ones that I went to go visit in Bakersfield. And I took my boxing gloves and she was like all over them. And then when I was there and she was like playing with the gloves, and I was like, oh, are you into boxing? She's like, no, it's not really my thing. But then her mom told us later that she wants to do boxing. So I'm like, all right, cool, mission accomplished. Like, she was
trying to like be cool about it. Like, oh, you know,
she's hella slick, but yeah, she like. I love what you said about people would try to dim that down, right? Because it's like, I'm sure that you've gone through that. I know I've gone through that.
Absolutely. It's and it's weird because it comes from it can come from people like in your family. And it's the worst because you admire people in your family. That's the first people that you interact with. That's, and coming from somebody outside of your family, you're just like, shoe fly, I don't care. But when it comes from your family, it's like, it hurts because it's just like, wow, like, that's how you feel about me. I don't feel that way about you. I think you're awesome. But then it comes from them and it's just like, ooh. And it shakes you, but once you develop to be like a stronger person, it doesn't break you. So it'll shake your world a little bit, but then you'll think like, well, let's just say there's 5 people telling me I suck, but then there's 12 people telling me I'm great. And, it's like... So...
You learn to roll with it. It's all good.
Yeah.
But with that, we're going to take a mini break. So it's all good. We're going to come back with Miss Fatimah Patrice.
Yay.
Yeah. Peace. Started doing music. When did you start doing music?
I think seriously, well, I want to say seriously, probably 2009. My friend, I think we had just like finished school up and everything, and she was just like, "Oh yeah, we should." I asked her, but I wasn't sure if she wanted to. I think she was just saying yeah because she didn't have anything to do. But I was like, "Yeah, we should rap," and she was just like, "Really?" And so, because my cousin, I would ask him all the time, like, "Hey, can we come and like be in your studio?" And I don't know if you ever met Chris Quality. I think
I haven't met him.
Oh yeah, he's a pretty good artist. He's really good. He had a home studio, so I would always text him all the time like, "Hey, let's come to your studio," and he would just laugh, and I'm like, "Why are you laughing? It's not funny. Like we're serious. Let us come." So my younger cousin, she was in a group. It was 3 of us, and then as time went, I think she was younger than us by like maybe 3 or 4 years. So she was still like in high school. We were like done with high school and just moving on. And so I think she was approaching her senior year, and there was a lot going on. So she just quit the group, okay. I'm not making any money doing this. And like when you first start something, of course you're not gonna make big money, and everything you pretty much do is free.
Yeah.
So it's like a whatever. And so what she decided, she was like, okay, I don't want to do it anymore. I'm just gonna go focus on whatever she wanted to focus on. I said, totally fine. So I told my best friend, I was just like, do you want to continue on? She was like, heck yeah, let's do it. So we started making like mixtapes, and we did a couple mixtapes doing Girl Scouts. And then what happened? So as time went, maybe 2 or 3 years passed, and she decided I noticed that she wasn't enjoying it as much as I was because of the business aspect of it. So I was just like, we can start getting paid for this stuff. Like we can monetize, and we can do this, and that's when everything started to kind of do like the monetization and blah blah blah. Yeah. So I was like, yeah, we should do that for sure. Let's and she was just like, oh my goodness, like all this stuff, like we gotta do it. And I'm like, yeah. And then we also have to build a fan base through social media, because if we don't do that, who's gonna hear our stuff? Because like it's different now. Like people are not buying CDs, people are starting to stream. So we have to figure out how we're gonna do that, plus get paid for that. And so that was another thing where she was just like, oh, okay, I don't feel like dealing with all this, but she didn't say it out loud. So I just asked her, like, what's going on? Do you wanna? And I was just like, I'll do this by myself. Like, you wanna? So she was just like, you know what? Yeah, I'm done. She said, it's not fun for me anymore. I'm done. I was just like, okay, well, cool, I'm gonna continue. And so 2013 hit, and I was just like, okay, oh my God. And I didn't realize how much of a help us as a team was versus me having to do things by myself. Because like once you start doing things by yourself, you're like everything. You book everything, you talk to everyone, and that's why I like apologize for my email. My email etiquette sucks at this point because like I'll try to read my emails and it's like a billion of them. I'm just like, okay. So like everything is just wow. Like, but I didn't realize how much teamwork was put into the music thing when she and I were doing it together, because we would split up the task and split up the whole finance part of it and all, and just like everything. So I was like, Jesus Christ. So next thing you know, some years roll by and I'm here now and I'm still doing it.
Yeah, like, girl.
It's
Wise Guy. If you have not heard Wise Guy, please hear Wise Guy, because I really I enjoy the beat and I enjoy your part of it.
Thank you.
So far, what I've heard of your music has been, it's very, I like a story, and I like when things are being said of substance.
Yeah. And
so I feel like you have that, and so it's really, really cool to like vibe out to it, because there's not a lot of I mean, I've been listening to hip hop since I was little, 7 years old, you know, and so I feel like, you know, the majority of that is men. So like, when do you ever hear the women's side of the story? You know, when do you hear that part of it? And so it's been really, it's really cool to like have that in my ear and like, all right, cool, let's get this money. Let's, you know, even though like we're all in our process of hustling and like wanting to get to where we want to go. And so it's really good to have that motivation, you know, to like, all right, someone else is doing it too. Like, let's go.
Yeah.
What was that like to make Wise Guy with, you know, it was MC Koi, Ron Deezy, Chris Quality?
That process was a long time coming. Like they would, for years, like they've been asking me like, hey, let's collab. And so I was like, you know what would be a great idea is to put everyone on one song, and this is different for everyone, like the rap style of it all. They included for myself because I did a lot of like boom bap kind of like hip hop, where it's just like very like neo soul, very mellow, and then it jumps to like, okay, this is gonna be like almost trap hip hop. And so that was like a beautiful thing to say. When they all agreed to it, I was happy because I was just like, oh, I wonder like when they hear it, are they gonna be like, oh no, I'm cool, because it was different for pretty much all of us, and they all hopped on it, and I text them because we had all developed a relationship as far through music. Like I've been invited out to shows, been told like, hey, you know, I like this, and giving me advice, saying I like this, but work on this a little bit more. And then Chris Quality, he's the one that started me off in music. So like as far as recording wise, he was like, oh, you come through and record. At first he thought it was funny. That's my cousin, by the way. Chris
Okay.
Hi, Chris.
Dang.
But and so so he definitely was just like, you know, I'm on it. Send it to me. So everyone hopped on it. It took maybe about a month to prepare as far as getting everything together. And then it took maybe 2 or 3 weeks after the recording of it all and getting it all set up to do the music video for it. So, yeah, but the whole process of it was really fun. It was fun for me because I was just like, oh my God, I wonder how people are going to be. Are they going to be receptive to this? Because this is totally different from my norm. So I was like, okay.
I liked it. Sounds good.
Yeah.
My ears. So it's all good.
I was so happy when I heard that. Like so many people are just like, I love it. Keep doing stuff like that. And I was just like, really? Okay, sure. I don't mind. Because it was fun. It was fun to step out of my box and say, okay, let me make creative words up and blah, blah, blah. So,
yeah, for sure. And I started listening to so this is your debut album, Fatimah Patrice, from 2017. And so in the intro you talk about, you refer to Gandhi, be the change you wish to see in the world. Yes. And so for you, it sounds like you have this sprinkled into your music, you know, this social justice, awareness, understanding. You also talk about, I'm on my I to be well, it's my Hugh to be Newton, right? My HBC made me do it. So HBC, what HBC did you go to?
I went to Clark Atlanta University in Atlanta, Georgia. So that was a great experience. I did 2 years there, but I graduated. I actually transferred my credits from the Fashion Institute in San Francisco and graduated from there. Once I graduated from the Fashion Institute, I was like, I want to do more, I wanted to get educated more, but I wanted to do it in a different aspect because the Fashion Institute just, you know, was like strictly, we're going to focus on this, and that's great and all, but at the same time, it's just like, it's such a small institution. You don't get to know people. You don't get to see, I can say people like us there. It's not too many of us there.
When you say like us, is it?
I mean, as far as like ethnicity,
I
can never say that right.
People of color?
People of color. So it's not too many of us there. So I wanted to try something different. My brother, he attended at HBCU also. So he was like, you should try this school. I think you'll love it. I think you'll enjoy it. And it is diverse there because you'll be surprised at like historically Black colleges. You'll be like, oh, you know, it's probably just, you know, for just all Black people. No, it's diverse, but not like to the point to where it's just like every 5 minutes you like see someone, but there are people of other races there. So, and to my ignorance, I thought that it was like, oh, it's gonna be all Black people, and then I would be in class and I was just like, oh, Asian person, oh, you know, like it was just like, oh, this is cool, okay. But yeah, that was a different. Both schools were a very different experience for me. So,
what do you feel contributed to your understanding of the world in terms of social justice, having that lens or having that awareness of the things that are happening just in society, in the world? You know, you have your song Black Lives, right? You're talking about just what's been happening, right? Since, I mean, even before, but 2014 was really like a pivotal point of like, you know, Ferguson things like that. And so for you, what do you feel like contributes? What has opened you up?
I would just say living it, you know, being in it and seeing it happen firsthand in just different things. And it's the smallest things, but it turns into big things after a while. I feel like right now, I think it was so many things building up to the point to where people it just boils over to the point to where people are getting like, they're like, I'm not gonna take it anymore. And so hence what's going on today where people are fighting back. The young lady at the McDonald's, she was afraid for her life and she fought. I'm not sure if you've seen the clip of the young lady. I feel
like there was because I work at a youth center here in South Hayward, and there was a youth that was talking about it, but I didn't get the details of it.
So a man at McDonald's, so the lady, she worked at McDonald's, young black girl worked at McDonald's, and so there was a white man upset about a straw that was not out, and so they exchange words. He reaches over the counter and just grabs her, like, and pulls her, and so she fears for herself, and so she starts hitting him like hard, and so he's still holding on to her, and so they're trying to pull her off of him, and they were like, oh, they didn't know what to do, and so she recently did an interview saying, you know, I was just defending myself, and she said, we're not trained on how to deal with irate customers like he was. She said, so I can't put the blame on, basically she's not gonna put the blame on her manager because he didn't know what to do. She said, everyone didn't know what to do, and everyone's saying, well, this person should have did this, and she was a woman, why did that? And there's so many questions being asked, but I like the way that she's handling it, because I feel like there's ways of handling certain altercations. So, but she handled it really well. She handled it for herself very well, I think, because if anyone, I feel like definitely you can fight for your life if you have to, especially if you're afraid for your life. So that's one of the things. It's like, and I put that across the board to anyone. I'm not just saying, oh, just for black people or just for people of color. Across the board, if you feel threatened or scared or anything, fight for your life. Because at the end of the day, a lot of times, if the person says that, oh, they have a mental illness or they're, you know, just anything, they won't go to jail for harming you. So it's just like either way, something is gonna happen, and it just makes sure you protect yourself. And I just put that out there for like anybody, just protect yourself.
Yeah, I've been thinking a lot about boundaries and the smallest things. You're talking about the smallest things that in a one-on-one interchange, it's not a big deal, but then it becomes a big deal if you don't say anything or if it keeps bothering, right? And so I think one of the things for me personally is, like, I don't like being touched without my permission. And I love dancing. So, but while dancing, it's like people will come up to you sometimes and just completely like not think about boundaries, just let me put my hands on you, you know. And so that's one of the things that I'm trying to get better at, speaking up. Because that's part of self-defense, you know, it's like speaking up, use your voice, you know, say what you need to say. And, you know, you're talking about all people defending themselves, but all people hopefully having also the mindfulness of read the situation, breathe, like also watch yourself. Like sometimes I feel like I've gotten out of control in like where it wasn't necessary, right? I used to work at KFC, that was my first job at 16. So like there was a lot of altercations and that were like, it's not my fault, it's not their fault, we're just both mad right now. Like I'm mad, you're mad, we're like taking that out on each other. And so hopefully the young lady that this happened to, you know, she's doing okay mentally, because that could be very traumatic too. It's like, damn, dude, I'm just at my job and
you're upset about a straw. That was wild. That when I heard the reasoning behind the whole argument or whatever happened, I didn't get a chance to see the full video. Only seen the clip. So I don't like to like put my 2 cents in things that I didn't see the full outcome of, because a lot of times you'll say something and they're like, well, this and this happened. It's like, well, I didn't know that. You know, so it's always good to like basically have all your information before you say, oh, well, they should have did this, or they should have did that. But at the end of the day, from what I've seen, it's just protect yourself. Especially when you hear things like, oh, you got a pissed off over a straw. Oh, I'm going to snatch you over the counter because you don't have straws. And it was just like, but I don't know the words that were exchanged. But either way, he still shouldn't have touched her, period. So it doesn't matter what it was. It could have been, you know, they called each other out each other's name. Still, like, that doesn't add up to just like,
Yeah, I feel like that's why self-defense is important for all folks, but especially girls and women, you know, because there's always just these situations that, personally, me, I find myself in that I need to, again, use my voice, but then also have that backup of like, all right, if something goes down, like I know what to do.
Yes.
I'm always like aware, looking around, reading people's body language. You know?
You can feel the energy too. You can feel people's energy, like as far as like when something's gonna go bad. Like I don't know what it is. I think after a while you kind of get into it when you think about it a little bit more, you start practicing it a little bit more, you start to feel that energy. You're just like, whoa, wait a minute, it doesn't feel right here. Yeah. Why do they look like, okay, wait, this person's over here? Like you start to kind of add everything up and you're just like, I'm out of here. Or you just like, hey, you know, let me pull you to the side because I see something really bad about to happen. So.
Yeah. One of the biggest lessons that I've learned is that our body doesn't lie. Our body just feels. You know, so you go into a room, you feel that energy, you're like, all right, I'm gonna take myself out of here because something's not right, you know. So I resonate with what you're saying there. Again, especially as women, you know, we go through the world and sometimes we might just be walking down, we were talking about this recently, sometimes we may just be walking down the street going on about our business and somebody wants to talk to us and it's like, I just want to walk. You know, and it's like, you bitch, you fucking bitch. It's like, dude, that has happened to me, and it's like fucking scary because it's like, damn, I'm not trying to ignore you. I'm just trying to walk. Excuse me.
Yeah,
but God.
Yeah, and you know, was it the I lived in New York at one point, and it is scary. The cat calling. The cat calling, it does get scary, especially when you don't want to talk. Like you said, you're just walking, you're trying to get to your destination. And a lot of times you don't have time to talk, and there you're gonna. Hey, beautiful, how you doing? And it's just like, thank you for the compliment, but I gotta go. I'm talking to you. I just
it's aggressive.
Go. Yeah,
like,
it's
damn.
just like, whoa, I just told you I gotta go.
Yeah.
Jesus. Yes. But I totally get what you're saying, and it sucks to say, but it's just like we have to find ways. Like one of my strategies is just be as nice as possible. As nice, any kind of like talk, anything I can say. Like to just kind of de-escalate the whole thing, and because you're like, hey, how you doing? And they try to get touchy, and it's just like, oh, you know, and then you just kind of, it's like different gestures and ways and things. It's just like, oh, okay, well, how can I get out of this situation without this guy cursing me? And it's just sad that it has to be like that. Like it doesn't have to be like that, but it's just like one of those things where it's just like, how do you teach someone to treat people? You know. Yeah,
but I'm there with you in terms of being as nice as possible. I try to. Sometimes people just want acknowledgement. Yeah. It's like, hi, how are you? They don't like, hey, sexy. It's like, hi, how are you doing? It's like, no, I'm an actual human being. I'm not just a piece of meat.
Thank you.
Hi.
Jeez.
So sometimes people need that acknowledgement, but then there are those times that it's like, whoa, this person's very much like too much. But how was your time in New York?
New York, man, I enjoyed every last minute of it. I think it's just from the freedom. Like it's really the city that never sleeps. Like you can literally, sometimes I would leave work because I did visual merchandising. I did like brand management, like a whole lot of stuff with a retail company. And the crazy thing is that I would get off work sometimes at like 2 or 3 in the morning. And there's people just in the streets laughing and talking. And like here in California, a lot of the times when I'm in the Bay Area, I notice like 2 or 3 in the morning, the streets are dead. Like there's no one out. You might see some creepers out or whatever, a few little animals or whatever. But in New York, there's people everywhere at 3 in the morning, 3, 4 in the morning. And I worked near Times Square, so of course there was like tourists everywhere. Stores were still open at 1 or 2 in the morning. That it was just a lot, and it was just beautiful all the time. The lights are always on. The people are always on. It's just, it's beautiful. I loved it. The only thing is, like, once again, like in the Bay Area, the pricing of everything is ridiculous.
How long were you out there?
I was there for about a year and a half, almost 2 years. Just living. I went out there originally to help my music career, but I got caught up in the, like, when I started working at this job, they were offering me promotions. So it wasn't like, I'm like, oh, let me not take, I was like, yeah, because like you get raises with promotions, of course, sometimes. But yeah, a lot of my district managers are just like, you know, oh, you're from California. In their head, they hear California, they think Los Angeles off the bat. They're just like, oh, you're from LA. No, I'm from the Bay Area. Well, the Bay Area, San Francisco. Oh, okay. It's like you have to say like some near city nearby, but they get it. But every time they were like, oh, okay, well, you know about the fashion from coast to coast, let's do this. Oh, help us with this. And it would just be little things where it's just like, you guys know the answer to these things. But if you answer it for them, they try to pretend like it's so great so they can send you to locations where people are just like, oh, I don't want to change locations. I want to stay here and do this and this. So they're like, oh, you did great. Come on. And I'm just like, oh, thanks. So I worked a few places in New York, but I enjoyed it. New York a lot. Yeah.
What places do you recommend for folks to visit?
Just Manhattan.
Mm-hmm.
Brooklyn was a different experience. I lived in the Bronx. The Bronx was a definite experience.
I want to go visit.
Yeah, it's cool, but I would tell people when you're out there, just make sure that you are vigilant of your surroundings all the time. I will tell you anywhere you go to do that. But yes, I would say Manhattan would be great. Just it's a tour. That's a tourist area. But if you want to party, I would say definitely Brooklyn's cool. It's a cool place to party. I enjoy myself there.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. So then coming back and focusing on music, what do you feel is your inspiration for your music?
I would say life. Like just a day to day. Like when people say just live and the words will write itself, it's very true. When you take those experiences, it's definitely difficult to pull those emotions out when you're writing because you're not in it in the moment. So it's always great. Like my phone is full of notes, like so many notes of just like, oh, like if something happened, let me just jot that down really quick. But it's kind of hard to jump back into that feeling. But definitely the inspiration for it all is just living, like the day to day. And then also other artists, like, who's like the biggest person? Well, J. Cole has always been like that guy because like when I finished school, one of his songs called, I think it's called I Get Up. And it was just so like, I was like, oh my God. I needed this because it was just like, even if I have to crawl, I'm gonna make it to the end. And it was just like, because I was like, I didn't want to finish. I was like, I'm not gonna finish school. I'm done with this. And that song was just kind of just boom. And then like from back then to now, like I still listen to his music. And I'm just like, this guy just knows how to inspire people in any kind of way possible.
So this would be someone that you'd want to meet.
Oh my gosh, yes.
J. Cole, she's coming for you.
I am, and I'm gonna be all ears, and because I'm such a chatterbox, and I'll
bringing sage here. Got the sage here. All right.
Yes.
Calling it in. J.
Cole. Dreamville.
It's gonna happen.
Yes.
When that happens,
yes.
I'm gonna get so excited for you.
Yes.
Thank you, Lord.
All
right. Cool.
Yes.
Cool. So J. Cole.
Yes.
Inspiration.
Absolutely.
I was thinking earlier about how when you're seen by the people that you're inspired by, that's the ultimate, like, yes, I see you, you see me.
Yeah, oh my
gosh,
I exist to you.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's one person that I just really hope, I feel really confident about that I will meet one day and hopefully work with.
Yeah, why not?
Right, so.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that's my big, like, yay, please.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Dope.
Yeah.
So then it's 2019.
Yes.
Aside from, meeting J. Cole and other amazing folks to work with.
Yes.
What else are you manifesting? What are you calling in for 2019?
2019, I've been calling in the festivals. I really want to be a part of the festivals. Like I've been to a few, like I've been to Rolling Loud, I've been to like all the little small ones, South by Southwest. Like I've been there as an artist for South by Southwest in 2017. I was able to perform at the Ethics House. I want to say that's how you say it, but it's like Ethics Clothing, and they have like a stage, and they were just like, oh, okay. It wasn't like the huge like.
Hey, but it's a step. You got the foot in the door.
Yeah, so that was cool. So that was like my first festival, a big festival that I performed at. But then everything else, I've just been there as a fan of just coming to see everyone. So that's one big thing, is just making it on the big stage with all the artists that I love so much. So that's what I'm manifesting at this point. Yes. Cool. So the festivals. And like, of course, I'll get there when I get there with the award shows, but that's another thing too. It's like, even if I just attend the award shows just to be in the presence of everyone in that good energy and just manifesting that on myself. So like that's such
and it's starting to happen in terms of, you know, you say you've already been to South by Southwest and you're putting out music consistently since and we actually met at the Slang That Thing in April 2018. So since then, you know, I've been following you on Instagram and you've been putting out stuff, and I saw a recent change in your Instagram, you know, just the look of it, like the photos that you're putting out, the images, the branding that you're putting out. The music has been, you know, coming out. You're on Spotify, you're on all the, you know, you could find her on all the major, you know, Spotify, what is it, iTunes.
Also have things on SoundCloud for people who don't associate themselves with certain platforms, and then just everywhere, Google Play, any like pretty all the platforms. If whatever your taste in music is, it's there. So I think it's just really cool. So pretty much I just decided to release a bunch of singles. I was just like, let me release these singles and let that be that. So
nice, cool. Well, it's all coming. I appreciate you being here, you know, coming through and for sure, telling your story. And, you know.
I was really happy about that because I'm like, oh shoot,
I see you.
Yeah, so like, you want to come through? I'm like, me? Sure,
girl. Yes, you.
Heck yeah, I was there. I was like, oh yes. I was like, I gotta go there. So, so I was really happy to hear that. I was like, I definitely just love the fact that I have pretty much the freedom to just do what I want. Like it just feels good to just say and do what you want. I think that's like the best.
Yeah, I hear you. I feel like I mean, we're here in this world. Welcome back, by the way. We're having this like deep conversation.
Yes.
Us as women of color, women of color artists, you know, we're out here in the world, you know, putting out our stories and putting out who we are, and so we need to be able to be willing to say what we need to say and do what we need to do in the moment, right? And so I'm calling for that courage. You know, sometimes it's hard because you find yourself in situations where, I don't know, people can tempt you to like act crazy or whatever it is. And you were talking earlier about how when you do find yourself in a situation like where somebody's telling you something, you kind of just are staring at them with a blank face.
Yeah.
But I'm there too. It's like you're processing. Like I don't want to just go crazy and hit somebody or whatever it is, but just kind of processing and taking it in. And sometimes it's like recognizing, okay, I'm not going to take this personally because obviously you have issues. It's not even about me.
It's you, not me.
Yeah, it's like I'm going to just step back, let you do whatever.
What's the truth? What I noticed with the processing part is it takes time because I found myself in situations where I exploded and I felt so stupid after I exploded. Like, I'm just like, oh my God, why did I let this person make me look so crazy? Because they're just sitting there looking at you go crazy because they poke the bear. People like poking the bear until the bear goes, you know, and then they're like, oh, look at the bear. Oh my God. And it's just like, but didn't you just poke the bear till the bear got to that point? But no one sees the person poking the bear. They only see the bear. And so it's like, sometimes it's so embarrassing because you're just like, I looked ridiculous. And then that goes back to caring what people think, but you do want people to think well of you. I think at the end of the day, no one wants anybody to think ill of them. Of course, you're like, oh, I don't care what people think. And it's like, but you don't want anyone telling the world, like, excuse me, you don't want them telling the world, like, oh, yeah, so this person is a nutcase, or you know, like just like going around and telling everyone that these people are believing that. But the thing that it won't stand if you just be a good person, just a decent person. Whatever they're saying won't stand, but you don't want anyone still going around saying that when you know it's not true about you. Your actions will show them that you're not whoever they're saying you are, but you still don't want that. Like they're this or they're that. You know.
Yeah, there's I've definitely found myself in situations where like people just annoy me, or I get angry or whatever it is, and it's like recognizing that, all right, I'd rather stay quiet and just kind of think about it than to just like go off on you, because I know, like, I've been in situations the same way as you where I've just gone off and then I feel crazy after. I was like, oh shit, that's not really who I am.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just kind of showing these weird colors of myself. But speaking about coming back to your music, so 2019, so manifesting festivals
Yes.
and manifesting meeting J. Cole
Yeah.
and working with J. Cole.
Yeah.
And you talked about award shows,
Yeah.
getting that energy, and one of the things about being an artist is traveling. So where are the places that you want to travel to?
I've actually been to a few places, just traveling the world with my older brother. He's like, I believe he's, what do they call it? Jet setter. My brother's a jet setter. Excuse me. So I was able to go to a few places with him. But I have not been to Africa. For some reason, I need to get there. I don't know why, but it's calling my name. I want to get there so
What
bad.
part of Africa?
I want to go to Egypt. I know that's so like cliche. It's like, oh, I want to go to Egypt. But yeah, I do.
Have you seen The Mummy?
Yes.
Movies? Okay, I've been watching those.
I love it. I was like, I love it. It's the animation in there with the little, and I'm like, oh, with the little bug. Oh my god.
Oh yeah, the Beatles.
Yes. Oh my god. Sorry, I'm loud. But I was like, oh,
I saw the one yesterday with the second one, The Mummy Returns, with The Rock.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, he just so good. Now that's a fine man.
The Rock was born in Hayward, so Rock, I'm coming for you. I'm coming for you, dude. Definitely. I feel like that's something that really excites me, is like being able to meet these people that are out there in the world that are doing things that, like, why can't I be somebody, or you somebody that like meets all these people that are really successful in their craft, and traveling the world and things like that. That's something that really excites me. I also would like to go to Africa. I want to go to Ethiopia. Ethiopia seems like a place that, like, just the cradle of humanity, visiting Lucy, like that's just something to me that feels like, all right, cool, like it would be nice to just visit and be in that space.
I met a few people from Ethiopia and Eritrea. They said it's like right next door to each other. Just really good people. Their energy is beautiful. Like every last one of them that I've met. I met a girl, we call her Rosa, and I worked with her. She was one of my employees when I was working in retail, and she just always smiling. I only seen her down one time, it was because, of course, someone kept poking the bear, but just every time I see her, Fatimah, my sister, like every time she was just this energy, and I was just like, wow. And every last like Eritrean or even Ethiopian that I met always had great energy and always ready to like go. Like, what are we doing? What's going on? And that's why I was like, that'll be one place for sure. Like, I'm glad you mentioned that. Like Egypt, I was thinking about like, oh, pyramids. And so, but that would be a great place just to meet the people, like where they're from, because that just shows, that speaks so many values when you meet a certain people, and then you're just like, dang, all you guys are like this, like it is. And I hate to put it that way, so like to just judging off of like certain ones, but every like their energy was just amazing. I was like, ooh. I was like, that's a good place. I'm glad you said that. I'm like, yeah, there too. Yeah.
So many places in the world that. Man, that I see them. I have one of those like world atlases, and it's like, oh my god, I want to go there. And then I'll see stuff on. I really like on Netflix. They'll have like the planet Earth or whatever. They'll go to different like places. They'll show animals and things like that. And just like growing up reading, I read about like I was able to transport to these places through books. And so for me, it's like, I want to actually go visit and feel like, what is it like to be in these places, to meet the people, to be in the culture, and being able to bring it back to kids here in South Hayward that may not have thought of themselves as world travelers and globetrotters. And it's like, you can if you want to.
Absolutely.
Like, let's get that money so you can do it. You know?
I was like, honestly, it's true that you literally can do anything you want. Like, and I think once that gets settled in your spirit, like, because you've been told, like a lot of people have been told their whole lives, you can't do something, you can't do it, you can't do it, and you put that in your head, and you're like, oh, I can't do that. And it's like, why? I don't know. And a lot of people don't have answers to why they can't do it. You be like, why you can't do that? And then like you say money, and it's just like, well, there's scholarships, there's this, there's that. Oh, well, I can't because. Oh, well, do you actually talk to this person? It's just so many solutions to those I can't, but people don't want to hear it. Like, it's because they're so conditioned to hear you can't, but you actually can. And once you start to tell yourself that daily, like affirmations, like that's huge. I'm huge on affirmations where you speak life into yourself and into other people. So when people say things like, I'm like, I think you can. And then the look on their face when you tell them that, like, you think so? And it's just like.
You've seen Aaron Shout out King Agamat from Slaying That Thing. You've seen him do his affirmations when he
Yeah.
performs? Okay, cool.
I was there. Yeah, the
Yeah,
night
that's
that
how-
we
yeah.
met. Yeah, shout out to Aaron. Yeah, like, for sure. Like he, the way, the look on those people's faces and how it lifts their spirit. Like I love the face, like their faces, like when people tell them that you can or that you're beautiful, or they the way that they light up is like you can tell that people don't hear that often, and it's sad. It's so sad because it's like you have to tell yourself that, but you're your best friend.
Yeah.
You're your best friend, so.
It's, what I've noticed is that sometimes, like, it comes from our parents. Like, they don't, because they didn't get to have a chance to work on their dreams, they sometimes kind of pass it on, not in a bad way, it's like, but it's like they didn't believe that it's possible, you know, and so, you know, my mom, as powerful as she is, my dad too, it's like they didn't really necessarily get to live out their full potential in the way that I feel like you and I, you know, are able to, like, all right, let's keep going, like, we have these resources, let's make this happen, you know, and so part of this grind that I'm doing, and maybe for you too, for your family, is for the family. It's like, let me get this money for the family. I want to take my mom to Italy. I want to take her to Mexico, like different places all over the world, you know?
Yeah, that's it. If everything you just said, like, and everyone says, what's your purpose or what's your, you know, and it's just like my family. Like, I want us to start something generational where my nieces and nephews, or even my children, when I do have children, we do what we want, you know, we do it like we stand in
financial freedom,
and it's just I just want to start something big. Like I feel like my older brother started to kick off everything. I have an older cousin that went to college. She was the first one in our family to just complete college and go to college. So that was, she's like an older cousin. Hi, Linnell. Hey.
What's up, cuz?
But
those older cousins, they're inspiration.
So she kicked it off, and then my older brother, he went to college, and he was just like, you guys should too. And then so myself, and then my little sister was a culinary school, and then she started doing childhood development. Like, and then my little brother finished at sex state. Like, it was just like he kind of kicked it off to where it was just like, okay, now what are we doing next? What is the next step for the family? And I'm just like, generational wealth, man. Let's just kick that off. Let's get it started. And I feel like music is a great outlet because you can branch off for so many things. Like once you get out there and people like support what you're doing, like there's so much stuff that I want to do. Like once everything kicks off, that it's going to help people. It's not just for me. It's not like because growing up I was kind of shy, so it's not like it's like, oh, I want to be in front of the camera and I want to. It's like I think this is a great place because I was like I feel very talented here. And I can do that with this. Let me go, like if this kicks off, or when it kicks off, not even if, when it kicks off, this is gonna catapult so much stuff for like my family and then like my sister and my nephew, like they can do these things. And it's just like so much stuff running through my mind that the branching, like starting the root, like putting the roots in the ground, just watch a tree and the branches. And that's when I'm just like, oh, this will be good. But at the end of the day, it all reverts back to family. Like, what can I do to help my family? What can I do to help these people? And it feels good to help people. I don't know if you guys tried this, but help somebody without thinking or getting anything in return. Just do it. Just like, here you go. It feels great. It feels so good because it's like when you give and expect something back, it's like you gave that expecting something. It's like, oh, here. Right. And then like you just stare at the heart. It's not. You're just waiting. You're waiting for like, oh, well, I did this for them. I did that for them. It's like, so you didn't do that with the love of just like, I want to do this for you.
There's a certain attachment that comes with like, I'm giving you this love or this whatever, and it's like I want it back, you know. So it's unhealthy. I've been reading about. I was telling you earlier about how like spirituality. I grew up Catholic, but then, you know, and of course I still believe in La Virgencita de Guadalupe, and she's my queen right now. But also taking from other aspects, you know, and so Buddhism is one of those things that, like, you know,
we're like the same person. Like we literally like just like it was like, oh, here, God was like, oh, here you go, I'll put you right here. It's the same thing. I didn't dream a tattoo will be the change you wish to see in the world.
Oh yeah,
the Gandhi. Yeah, so I was just like, man. Oh, I'm sorry.
I was just like, oh no, I'm the same person. It's all good, but just learning about like attachment and how that's the source of unhappiness, you know. It's like when you feel attached to whatever it is, you know, and it's like it's understanding that it all comes from within. You were saying this earlier, that it all comes from within. Sure. Finding that happiness, finding that center, finding, you know, finding your respiration, your breathing in situations. it's all good, you know, it's gonna come your way.
And you know, with you saying that, it is true. It made me kind of sad when I read it because I do get attached to people. Like, they're like, when you get attached to things and people, that'll bring you sadness. And I was like, oh my God, it's the truth. But then people can bring you so much happiness. Things can bring you so much happiness, but it's so temporary because it's not gonna last, none of it. And it's just still just like, oh, don't be attached to it. And it's just like, you can't help it. It's like, oh my gosh, I love this person so much. And it's just like, but you can't. And you're not supposed to, because it's just gonna do nothing but bring you grief. Like, and it's like, oh my God, I'm so sad. I want to be attached to this person forever. And you know,
I've definitely been there, like in relationships, get super attached or whatever it is, and it's like it throws you off, you know, because you're like doing well. Focus. Yeah, you can't focus. You can't focus. Just thinking about.
I'm single, by the way. Very single. I'm telling.
Wait, what's the difference between single and very single?
Very single, because you know, like some people talk like, okay, single is just like you're single. Yes, you are. You're very single, but you're like you talk to people from time to time. Like you have your friends. You know, you have friends, but you guys are not together. Like situationships and stuff. I don't have that. You have single, then you have very single. Like when your phone is like dry. Your phone's dry, like DMs and everything is dry. But my DMs aren't dry.
All right.
But I don't. A lot of times I don't respond. So if you slide in my DMs, they'll probably be unread. So it's because I'm focused. Like when you're in relationships, like you literally have to be centered in yourself, where you know yourself so well to be in a relationship while you're trying to pursue your dream. Because if the person is not like in that wagon while you're going to your dream, and they're just outside the wagon, they're just looking like
yes, being a tourist of some kind and not having their own goals and aspirations.
Right.
I was gonna bring up one of the songs that you do. I want to say it's Nostalgic Infatuation, where you talk about, you mentioned Miguel and you mentioned Tyrese.
Yeah.
But something that Miguel talked about during one of his interviews is that, you know, he's now married, but like he said that when he found his now wife, you know, it was something where everything kind of like settled down in terms of he was able to focus even more on his music, because he wasn't distracted with like, oh, let me like quarter all over the place. Now it's like, I'm committed to you, and now I'm even more committed to me because I'm focused. So that's something that he talked about that I thought was super powerful, because it's like, you think that you have to reach a certain age or whatever it is to like find that person, but really it has to be the right person, but also someone who's gonna help you and support you in your process while you help and support them in their process. So so very key what you mentioned in your song, you know, talking about Miguel, and you know that dude's like awesome too.
He is. I love him, and I'm glad you said that, because when you do find that person, it does help you. It puts you on a whole nother level because you have that extra support. You don't feel alone, but you also have to go through that dating process, and it's just like, is this worth it? Because when you waste your time, let me tell you, you want to kill everybody in your circle. You want to kill them and everybody in your circle, because you're just like, why did you let me waste my time with this person, and why did you waste my time? Knowingly, you didn't want anything from me of any substance, you know, like, so that's huge for me. Like, where I'm just like, oh, okay, please don't waste my time. And I say it, and I don't like the wordplay or mind games that sometimes guys do. Like, they're like, I'm not wasting my time. And I know, and a lot of people say that's a rude question. I'm like, but it's an honest question. It's just like, do you see yourself like moving forward? What do you see out of this? And when you hear, oh, do you think you're wasting your time? Don't play mind games with me, sir. Like, you know, it's just like,
good sir. Who are you trying to fool?
Who are you? But that's what I try to tell. I'm like, ooh, can you just be honest for 2 seconds?
Honestly, girl, I'm there with you in terms of super single. Well, okay, kind of folks, but single. But also, one thing that's super important for me right now is to be friends with somebody. Like, let me just be. Can I like laugh with you? Can we just be cool? Yeah. Can I like tell you about like my crazy family? Like if I need to vent or just my own stuff. Like, can I just be a human being? I think that's really important for me. Because I feel like that's what, you know, if you're looking for something, that's how you build the foundation. Like, you know, just being cool with people.
You know, and that's all I ask for too, is like, can you be supportive? Can you be cool? But don't add all that extra dramatics. Like, I tend to be the person who disappears for a while. Like, I'll disappear just to get focused. And it's like, I disappear without you getting upset? Like, if we're just friends. Like, if we're just friends, and he's like, oh, she's disappearing because she's in her zone. I'll contact her later. Like, that'd be nice. Instead of just like, oh, I haven't talked to you in da-da-da days. And it's just like, this is why I don't want a relationship. This is exactly why. And it's so weird because, like, normally I heard that's the guy role. Is like, oh, I'm gonna run the relationship. And I'm just like, no, I just think that's a dysfunctional thing to be in a relationship with someone and disappear. But if we're not in a relationship, I think that should be something that's fine. If you feel like, okay, as friends, this is what we should do, and there's rules and all kinds of stuff to friendships, it's like, okay, please say it up front, and I'll let you know if I can do that or if I can't do that. But all the extra expectations, it's like, no, can't do that, sorry. I'm focused. My dream comes first.
Yes.
My dream comes first.
Say it.
So
say it, girl.
Like, sorry.
Nice.
Like, right now, it's not the time for me. And mom, it's so funny because my mom says the same thing. She was like, oh, so like, what about like children? Don't you want kids? And I'm like, yeah, but I want this more. I would rather like my career be set in stone and everything is nicely packed and pretty. But it's no such thing as packed and pretty. But it's to my perfection. What I think is packed and pretty, and like I feel like I'm in a good place. Then I'll go ahead and do like the whole relationship thing and kids and all that kind of stuff. But right now it's just like, I'm content with just pursuing what it is I'm pursuing. Like, I'm totally cool with it.
It's coming.
It is.
It's coming. So with that, it's just me. One day there will be a team behind me, but
there is.
But I really appreciate you coming through. You know, it's been really tight, you know, being able to and we're gonna be sharing music from your catalog. But you know, talking to you and getting to know you as an artist and learning about, you know, where you want to travel to, where you want to go with your music and things like that, all the work that you're putting in, you know, everything, no matter what you do, however much you love it, there's always a grind. There's always these things that like we have to do, no one else is gonna do them, and we have to be willing to put in the time and the effort to make it happen. But with that, you know, as a final question, and this is inspired by the Zapatistas, in a world where many worlds fit, how would you want to create, or what would you want to change in the world?
Changing the world. That's a really good question. Changing the world, I would say to go back to people being more mindful of people's feelings, time and consideration, having consideration of people's time and energy, and more understanding. I think that'll be something I would like to change as far, because I feel like that's going to stem down to the way that the world will
back.
Hey.
So the other question got cut off. So we're just gonna, light note, you know, whatever final words you might want to say.
Final words. Don't give up. I think they said study the greats so you can be great just like them. You always want to be better than your teacher. Whatever your teacher teaches you, whatever you learn when you're looking at all these artists, or you're looking at whatever field you're in, and I'm sure everyone has somebody that they're just like, wow, this person is amazing. Look at them and study what they did to get to where they are and exceed that. So it's always better. You don't want to be exactly like someone. You always want to be better or do better than the next person, because your parents want that from you as well, or your guardian, whoever raised you. They always want you to be better than them. They want you to live life and just, you know, be free. Yeah. Well, I would hope that they will want you to be better than them and be free. But usually as parents, that's what they want for their children, is just to be great. And they don't mean you harm when they're telling you get a job and go to school, and these things you feel like, oh, that's not fitting for me. That's the picture that's been painted for centuries of success. So they just want success from you. But other than that, don't ever give up. Be better than your teacher, and be free. Live free.
Yeah, Fatimah Patrice.
Thank you.
You have been here with us, HayStack Mujer TV, Rosaura, Figueroa, Mendoza, Rosa Salvaje, your host. And yeah.
Yeah.
Peace. Bye.
Bye.